I remember when we were strong. The Viridian Outriders, a bold fraternity dedicated to preserving the safety of the needful traveler. Within my lifetime, I have seen us fall so far, replaced by the steel and gold of a king I once called friend. New threats arise, though, and his cutlass and coin may not be enough to save our people. We're still here, though. Less than we were. But we're here, and we'll help where we can. That is my oath. Hello, and welcome back to Another Path. My name is Chase, and I remain your GM. Today, the Outriders meet the bandit, Basil, and find out the truth of his escape from Scales Right Prison. Thank you to our backers, Xander, Rin, and Savani, for their support. If you like what you hear, consider donating to us at patreon.com/GhostLateMedia, and maybe try checking out some of the other shows on the network. But with that, sit back, relax, and enjoy your trip down another path. So I was invited a couple of weeks ago to spend all day of yesterday, which was New Year's Day. So we're playing on the 2nd, I should note, which is about as close as we've gotten recently.
That's true.
It's very true. It is strange, but it's true.
It's true. I was invited by a friend of the show, Nate, to go and play with a bunch of his friends a game of Twilight Imperium.
Okay.
Are any of you familiar with this game?
Nope.
Just that it's big and long and complicated.
Hey, that is correct. It is Risk meets Star Wars with more resource management, and literally there is a point where there is like diplomacy and law stages.
Whoa.
Are there sparkly vampires?
They weren't in play. That was not a race. Well, what I'm saying is like there might be. I did not look through all of the available factions because there are like 30.
Fair.
I was playing a bunch of like nomadic beast folk.
Sure. Yeah. Like you do.
I got there at about, I'm going to say like 8:15. We started playing at about 9:15. I left after finishing one game at 6:30.
Wow.
Respect.
It was a very good game. This was a really fun bunch of guys, and I'm not just saying that because some of them like asked about the podcast once we were done. But no, it is a very cool game. I don't think I could play it more than once a year. But one of the reasons I mention it is that Justin, Fantasy Flight, is the one who makes it, and I do believe you live effectively down the road from them.
Yeah, it's like 15 minutes away.
I mentioned it to Zach the other day, and he said, "Oh yeah, I used to drink and like play games there because apparently they have like a full restaurant and bar."
Yeah, Fantasy Flight rules.
Yeah,
I probably know some of the guys you played with because I did the very terrible hot sauce challenge with them.
Yes.
So yeah,
it's very
good
likely.
group of guys.
Yeah.
Speaking of people like asking about the show, since you said some of them did, random stranger in Publix in Florida stopped me to ask me about Another Path when he saw me.
Because of the shirt you were wearing, right?
Yeah.
Because of the merch, because of the logo.
The merch works.
Yeah, he didn't recognize me. He wanted to ask what it was, and
it would be weird if they did, my dude. It's an audio format.
I mean, but here's the thing: is like there is somebody on this call who has been recognized by their voice as a member of this podcast in public.
Same.
Well, no, I'm talking about you, Griffin. They did not recognize me.
Right. We were at Gen Con and like outside, I think, the Neo Scum live show.
Yeah.
And someone was like, "Are you Mordecai?" I was like, "What of it?"
No, like I have literally talked to people for, what was it, Echoes specifically at a Catacon who did not know that they were talking to Nehemiah.
That's hilarious.
Now, they don't do the pre-show banter on Echoes, so like we don't have my voice on there, but that's also how we got the member of the community didn't know Rin wasn't British moment.
It's one of the coolest things to ever happen.
Correct.
Wait, she's not?
Who knows, really?
You know what? Here's the thing. Not in this century.
Yeah.
That's a great answer. Thank you very much.
That was actually a very good answer.
Yeah.
You're quite welcome.
Ryan, quick tangent.
Tangent accepted.
Since it is getting towards the end of the football men's season, would you like to start saying that the Lions are going to have it this year so that they lose?
I would like to lay a curse down upon the Detroit Lions, specifically one footballman named Jared Goff. I have reasons for this because I very desperately want to see the Detroit Lions win the Super Bowl. I think it would be amazing. It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. It'd be fantastic.
I'm going to say I lay a blessing onto Jared Goff, and they have this in the bag. They are going to win no problem. They are going to beat the Minnesota Vikings 100-0 on Sunday night.
Justin's a big Vikings fan. It's important to say this is being recorded right before the last game of the season. Jared Goff.
They're going to have the 1 seed.
Oh my God. This man. I have righteous anger because now for the second year in a row, I have made it to the finals, the championship of the Office Fantasy Football League, which has a buy-in. So there's money on the line. Last year, lost because of freaking Joe Burrow, which, you know what? Joe Burrow sometimes is going to Joe Burrow. This year, I put up 150 points in my championship, and I felt pretty good about it.
Who has Saquon?
Neither of us in the finals.
Who has Sam Darnold?
Neither of us in the finals, but the guy was playing. It is
Sam Darnold?
Dude's last name is Darnold.
Sam Darnold with a D.
Darnold is not a real name.
He's the quarterback.
Is it D apostrophe Arnold?
That would be better. No, it is not. He's from California.
Sam Darnold is the main guy of the Minnesota Vikings.
Griffin, no, I think you and I are on the same page. They're punking us. They're making up names.
Google Sam Darnold.
Ryan, I fucking refuse.
And I really think that Gerald Bertley's going to do well in the playoffs.
You're fucking... I have a coworker who rotates between 3 different sports things on Sundays at work, and I pretend that I don't know football to him so I can watch the joy in his eyes of explaining football to me. But then he'll talk to he'll just be like, it's like, my friend, I don't remember any players' names. It's like, my friend, this guy would like the football. Give him the football. Darnold would like the football.
Give it to Darnold.
Give the football to Darnold.
But give the football to Darnold. He's very good, even though everyone thought he was bad.
But Jared Goff beat me in the finals. So the Lions are going to blow the game to the Vikings at the end of the season. They're going to have to immediately play in the wild card, and all their injuries are going to catch up to them.
No. Say the opposite, because I want them to lose. And last year, you were so sure that they were going to win, and then they blew a 2-score lead.
This is true. That is on mic. It is in an episode that that was the NFC Championship game. It was delightful. So the Lions are going to do great. None of them are hurt. And there's actually no more kneecaps left for Dan Campbell to bite. So
I remember this conversation. I remember being so baffled by this man eating knees.
The lore around football teams is very strange, and it's only getting stranger, and I'm here for it.
Although Dirty Kirby Josephs is still going to take out kneecaps anytime he can.
Dirty Kirby?
Dirty Kirby's a...
Dirty Kirby Joseph.
Dude.
Yeah. So, hey, listen, you want Dirty Kirby on your team.
No, you don't.
Who do you want more, Dirty Kirby or Clean Kirby?
I want Chef Kirby.
The fact that there's a guy legitimately called Dirty Kirby is still only the second weirdest sports thing I have heard recently, because lest we forget, we have friends who are playing in curling who are sponsored by Malort.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, they are.
I'm related to one of them. One is on the network, Half-Ill.
Did you see their jerseys?
They're so good.
They're real good.
They're so good.
And the drink is so bad.
I've never had it still.
Oh,
It's not
tastes
great.
like tires.
It do taste like tires.
It tastes just like a tire.
It tastes like burnt tires.
Gets you just as drunk, too. So, yeah, so the Lions are going to do great.
It doesn't even have that high of an alcohol content. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say on Malort. Continue.
All right.
The Lions are going to do great. Long live Dan Campbell.
Bite kneecaps.
Long live Sonic and Knuckles.
Dumbest bit in the NFL.
The Detroit Lions have 2 running backs this year. One of them's a speed guy. One of them's a bruiser. And on a game cast, somebody called them Sonic and Knuckles.
Nice. Is there a wide receiver who flies with their 2 tails, and spinning them like a helicopter?
Yes.
His name is Amon-Ra St. Brown.
You're
not a joke. He's
welcome.
very good. But Knuckles is hurt, so.
Rip.
Gotta
Rip
pop the
Knuckles.
cartridge out.
Yeah.
Blow on it. Yeah.
I was not going to make a blow on it joke.
A lazy late afternoon sun hangs in the sky over the small forest not far from the city of Portsmouth. The air in the forest is light and free, mixing with the sense of nature, campfire, and pungent BO. About 30 folks of varying ability wander the camp of the bandit known as Basil. Most ignore you, but some size you up as you walk through. You are taken directly to Basil, known as Bloody Basil, or the Bloody One to those who you speak to. He sits in a comfortable tent, lounging in a chair, cloaked in shadow and a fine robe, drinking something awful and fragrant from a wooden goblet.
Can I make an insight check on this man?
You may.
17.
Could I also get in on that just as a vibe check to see like how likely this is to turn violent?
Okay, you give me a vibe check. What is your specific question?
I want to know how straight of a shooter he is and if he wants to play games or if he just wants to know what's up.
With a 17, you know that for whatever reason, you have a modicum of clout with this guy.
I got a 12, so I'm guessing I'm getting pretty neutral vibes.
Curiosity is the overwhelming emotion. He was not expecting to have visitors today. Certainly not people who are just here to, like, talk or ask a couple questions.
Okay, but it doesn't seem like an ambush or anything.
Hard to say. Insight is not mind reading.
How many folks are there? Like,
About
how many have we
30
seen?
that you've seen.
Okay, cool. I look to my left and my right and see both of them just kind of nod. I go, yes, Basil, it is nice to meet you. My name is Cecil Stiles, and I do believe that you can help us make a bit of a change around here.
And how's that?
It is my understanding that you know the ins and outs of Scales Right.
Oh, I know it. What's it worth to you?
Honestly, I don't know how much you would want of anything because revenge seems like a good form of payment.
What kind of revenge are you talking?
Well, we need to get into that prison, retrieve an item, and get out. If there were collateral damage along the way.
I mean, all right, I've got 2 very important questions here.
I'm sure you do.
The first one, which may answer the second. What are you looking to get in there? I've never been an outrider myself, but my Aunt Heraclis was one back in the day, and I knew her to be quite the upright citizen. Seems odd somebody of your fine calibers here would be interested in busting in and busting heads into one of the finest prisons in this damnable country.
You're quite right, sir. The Outriders stand for something. To protect those who can't protect themselves, to keep the roads and the lands safe. All of that. You know what I speak of. That's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes good is a point of view.
Sometimes the people need protecting from the people in charge.
What are you trying to get out of there?
There is a device that has been stored there by order of the king. We need to get it out.
What does it do? No bullshit. And he snaps his fingers and he points at Arabin. You tell me. You're a straight shooter.
It's a horrible thing.
What's it do?
It causes corruption and pain.
We're like west, right?
You're north of the city.
Okay.
North of Scales, right?
Basil, have you encountered the undersigned?
In a manner of speaking, I'm assuming I know what you're talking about. I don't know what you call them, but I know about this thing. You want to know how I got out?
Would love to. Honestly, we hoped there was a escape tunnel or a map or something left off.
In a manner of speaking. And he stands up and moves into the light, drops his robe. You see his face is bisected.
Whoa.
Half of his face is normal, as you would see, kind of an olive tone, beard, brown going on gray. The other half, his skin is red. His veins are bulging. You see the mark of somebody who is at least partially undersigned.
Oh, shit.
I got out, 'cause I died.
That device, that is what we are here to do. Take care of and destroy.
And that's why I'm gonna help you. Because this hurts every minute of every day.
It is a hell that should not exist. And Basil, I'm very sorry. I had a chance to get rid of this once. A long time ago. And I was led to believe we had. This time we're going to make sure of it.
Damn right. All right.
Well,
close the flaps. Pulls his robe back up. Grabs his goblet off the table and sits down on it, looking at the four of you with Ignis there.
do you have a way in? We need to get in and we need to get out with the device. Honestly, if anything else happens to the prison or those in charge of the prison, I mean, it's all collateral damage at this point because this thing needs to be destroyed whatever it costs.
Damn straight. Way in is tricky, but doable. We'll go in the way I went out. Corpse shoot.
Ugh.
Little lady, that's exactly the right reaction.
Honestly, I assumed it was something like that.
I guess.
Easiest guarded. Bit of a skeleton crew.
Oh, sorry.
So what we do, we get in there. We'll get in through the infirmary. And then assuming they don't have any professors there working on things or doing dissections and whatnot, we should have a fairly straight shot as long as we can avoid the panopticon in the middle. From there, I can show you right where you need to go, at least as of where they were keeping things a few months ago.
I don't think it would have moved, but we will need to take Ignis in, and I gesture. This is how we are safely going to transport it. Harper, perhaps you would care to explain?
I think I just go over to Ignis and I open up the hatchback. Harper briefly disappears inside and then comes out, like kind of hops back down off the step, holding just like a halfling-sized bag of scrap metal. He's bigger on the inside.
Basil looks at that, and then, like, walks around to the hatchback and looks in, and then, like, goes up to Ignis's face. It's moving.
Yeah.
How?
I made him.
You looking for a job? This is great. The fuck?
I'm currently employed.
Fucking shame that. This is cool.
Yeah, he's pretty, he's pretty cool.
Huh. Like, taps Ignis on the head. Huh.
Harper kind of blanches, but is then also like, Ignis is his own entity. He can react. He can set his own boundaries if he needs to.
Right then. Well, that's something I'm going to have to digest at a later point. I've never seen metal that moves like that. Wild. Fine.
But also, if we need to disguise ourselves or turn invisible, we got that covered.
Oh, that'll be helpful once we get in. Getting the lunchbox in, that's going to be tricky.
Is the shoot vertical? Is it a straight shot? Up and down?
It's at an angle, but it's a steep angle.
Okay.
Like, if it was vertical, I probably would have ended up finishing the job, honestly. But, you know, it's down and out.
How close are we to an all-terrain Ignis?
I was just about to say, Harper, didn't you work on... remember when you made the moving walkway for under my desk?
Yeah, the Infinity Stepper.
Yes, thank you. Didn't you figure out a way to attach, tread to it?
It was sort of a prototype. I never really got around to actually implementing it. unfortunately.
Yeah, like that thing that Walter Will had.
Yeah, I got some ideas cooking. Basil, can you give me any more like information on the specs? Like, do you know? I mean, were you dead when they dropped you out of the chute?
Mostly.
So you wouldn't know like how long of a drop it was?
Distance wasn't really on my mind,
Yeah.
I'll say, friend.
That's fair.
In the nature of full disclosure, I don't think I'm exactly alive at this point as it is.
Right, yes. I have so many questions. I have so many questions, and I'm doing my best. Basil, I am, for the good of maybe helping others who have been afflicted with this, I would like to ask you many questions and take copious amounts of notes, but we do need to plan the prison heist first.
Absolutely. So, I've got bad news for you. I'm pretty sure the answer to most of your questions is I don't know.
Did you touch it? Did they touch it to you? Did you drink something? Did you imbibe something? Was there a strange aroma in the air?
And he holds up a hand.
Did they pipe it in through the...
I didn't drink anything. They just exposed me to it. It smelled really bad. I couldn't tell you what it was. I didn't have to touch it.
Okay. Interesting, yes. Anyway, yes, prison heist, yes, fate of the world, all that, right.
Depending on the length of the shoot, if it's reasonable, I think I have a way where I can get all of us up to it. Depending on how long of the drop from the chute to the ground is, and then from there we can kind of old school it. But if it's a pretty significant distance, it'd be like a one or several of us. Like, I can maybe get myself and maybe Ignis, and then everyone else is going to have to figure out their own way in. Airman, you can fly. So, like, there's a good starting point, at least like a backup plan. But
yeah, if needed.
If we have a long enough rope, I can probably at least get us up to the chute.
All right. Yes, that'd be good. We'll get up to the chute.
And then I can potentially winch Ignis up the rest of the way.
Okay, so Ignis plan gets up. We figure that out. Then we get in through the infirmary. If we can all sneak our way through as quietly as we can, get downstairs, it would be great if we could get to the device and grab it before we set off any alarm bells. And then we either go out through the front door or we try to go back out through the chute, depending on if anyone spotted us, I suppose. It would be great to do this without being spotted. I don't know that that's going to happen. I've fully embraced, and I believe we all have, the fact that, we might be walking out of this with wanted posters.
Yeah. Them's the breaks.
But if we can avoid it, we should try.
For sure.
But plan B is get out at all costs.
There is a caveat, though, to all this. One little wrinkle I do want to throw in here. If you want my help getting in, I'm coming with you.
I figured as much, honestly, from the way you were talking about it.
Before I walked in, I would not have asked you to do that, but knowing now what's been done to you, I believe all of us would be grateful and appreciate your presence.
It wouldn't be fair to get revenge and not let you have your turn.
Absolutely.
Yeah, all right. I thought that was going to be a harder sell. Cool. All right.
I'm not really happy about the whole situation, but
same.
We're in greater good situations, so there's only so many concessions we can make.
I kind of like Bloody Basil. Guy's got a good vibe.
Quote of the century.
Is there anything else that we need to know before we go in ahead of time? Should we wait 12 hours or a day? Is there a shift schedule we should be thinking about?
Is there a spooky scientist that likes to do his work at night and therefore we should go during the day?
Basically, any point there's going to be somebody dastardly and underhanded working there. Just the question is, whereabouts are they going to be?
All right, well, I think we have our ways of being discreet. We're never going to have the full picture going in, and I think one of our best strengths as a group is, freestyling. So,
sure.
And if we had our pick, I'd say we'd probably fare better against the dumb brutes than the spooky scientists.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, true. We prep as best we can, we go in, we go as quick as we can, and quietly as we can, we get out.
As far as I know, for what it's worth, I'm going to have, so when we get to the actual device, Ignis is going to be ready to receive it. Like, he's not going to be good for much else. He's going to be ready to receive it. Depending on its size, it may take one or several of us to get it into him. I don't know how big the device is, what kind of containment they have it in. So, just get ready for that.
To my understanding, I don't know what this thing actually looks like for what it is worth. I just know what it did to me. When I was presented with it, it was, I don't know, some kind of like a metal dome. They just kind of like lifted a door.
Okay. We may need to take it out of its containment, depending on the size of the containment, to fit it in the box.
Might get dangerous there, but...
Right, that's why Ignis is here. I'm really hoping that Ignis will be able to... like, y'all remember in the weird city with those weird bad orbs and how, like, Ignis largely seemed unaffected by them? I'm kind of hoping there's a similar situation going on there. It's a long story, Basil. We'll tell you while we're staking out.
Yeah, right.
There's been a lot, but yes, Basil, we have much information we'd like to get from you, but we need to do this quicker. Harper, once we get the device inside Ignis, Ignis is just along for the ride. Ignis can't really do much at that point, right? Or
I mean, I think to be on the safe side, I'm going to keep him out of the fray, just because I don't want, like, things getting jostled around inside. I'm trying to eliminate variables. Like, in a pinch, he could probably still, like, snap at people, but, you know, his primary sort of function is going to be transit.
Sure, that makes sense, yes. Right then, what do you think, Basil? Now or the morning, or... Honestly, unless there's anything else that we specifically need, or Harper, you need to prep to get Ignis in or out.
I'm ready to go.
We're ready to go.
No, let me... And he takes his goblet, swills the rest of it down, throws it against the wall, walks, like, through all of you, throws the flaps wide, just kind of shouts out, "Herbalist! Give me 2 to go, just in case." And you see a haggard-looking human individual look up, roll their eyes, and get to work on making something. Need my medicine for the road.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Harper, maybe once this is over, you could get him something better to drink.
I'm not really much of an alchemist. I'm more of a metallurge.
I mean, I've got some good tea, but, you know.
Do you have something that'll stop my heart from decaying?
I could maybe build something to stop your heart from decaying.
No shit.
I mean, hey, 5 years ago, I didn't think I could build this thing. And I point to Ignis, so.
No, fair enough.
Cecil is, like, flipping back and forth between 2 separate notebooks. The first one is Regicide for Dummies. The second one is How to Train Your Undersigned.
Bruh.
And they are going back and forth between heist planning and writing down all of the undersigned information they're getting from Basil, and just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. They eventually stop, put the 2 down on a table, and right hand on one, left hand on the other, and Cecil can write with both hands at the same time.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Being ambidextrous is not the weirdest thing about them.
That's
No.
very correct.
Question for the table in terms of gear I'm bringing in. Do we think we'll want... I have 2 things that I would like to bring in. Which one do we think would be more valuable? The Sending Stones or my Gloves of Thievery, which would give me +5 to all lockpicking?
We're not going to split up.
Yeah, probably the gloves. I don't really want to split the party. And
the
use
alternative
shell
would
phones.
be to either turn off my spear or the Mind Sharpener to have both the Gloves of Thievery and the Sending Stones.
If I have to concentrate on anything,
I know.
we want. Yeah, let me.
It's a good one. All right, I'll kill the shell phones, and then I'm going to reattune to the Gloves of Thievery that I originally made for Katie.
Okay.
So these will give me +5 on all thieves' tools and sleight of hand checks.
Nice.
While I'm wearing them.
Cool.
Yeah, let me keep that concentration, please. I've got a couple things I can do.
Yeah, that works. So I'll have my spear, I'll have the Mind Sharpener, and I'll have the Gloves of Thievery.
While Harper's doing that, I kind of want to like walk over to her and say, like, sort of quietly, Once we get that in our possession, keep a watch on my eyes to make sure I'm still there.
Yeah, sure. I can do that.
Because I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, we're going to do a prison break is what's going to happen.
Yeah. It's just the score we're going for is kind of a lot. And Basil might not be the most dangerous thing around us.
I have faith in you, Arabin.
It's good that you do. I'll let you keep working.
Yeah, I'm almost done.
Everybody is setting about their preparations. Harper, you are working on Ignis. Cecil, what are you doing?
Cecil is taking notes, talking to Basil, trying to simultaneously plan and get as much information as possible while figuring out if there's any basic differences between an undersigned and a non-undersigned and what changes have and have not occurred. What race was Basil originally?
Basil's dwarf, and still is a dwarf.
Okay.
So he stands probably about 4.5, 5 feet tall, stocky build, thick, but in the light of the sun, you can see he is very much splotched with marks of what you would consider the underside, mixed in with normal, apparently living flesh. Go ahead and roll me a perception check real quick.
13.
With a 13, you're trying to look without looking, because I think curiosity and propriety would probably be mixing at this point and butting heads just a little bit.
Cecil would be the last person to judge someone by how they look, so...
Yes, but you are trying to, like, find the points where, like, you can definitely see with a 13, there are parts of his skin where necrosis is starting to set in. This is quite literally a dead man walking.
Cecil is not shy about asking questions. Tries to do it, like scientifically and not personally. Mm-hmm. But to my knowledge, Chase, this is the first time we've ever come across someone who has survived.
This is entirely novel.
Okay. Is there when bits of the necrosis flake off, does it look like this powder? And Cecil describes like the residue that they saw when they killed the undersigned.
Nah. Rotten flesh.
Interesting. Okay.
What this is for, and takes the first bottle of what his herbalist has made for him, and as he takes a quick sip off it and tucks it into his pocket, slows the whole process down. It was real nasty the first couple of days, but
Sure.
can't really reverse much, but...
How long ago?
Oh... What was it, Micah? He looks up at his herbalist. 3 months, maybe 4, something like that.
Okay, yes.
Micah shrugs. Don't really keep track of dates much out here, so what you gonna do, you know?
Keep track of dates, that's what I'm going to do. Did you mark how far the necrosis was along initially before you started treating?
Micah, yeah, I got it. Yeah. I mean, what are you looking at now, man?
Cecil draws out a couple of like quick sketch diagrams and passes it over to Micah and says, could you diagram here? So this first figure A would be the initial onset, and then B would be when treatment started. And then, we can go from C and see where it is now. If you just also put down there like the ingredients and the process of treating, and this just continues.
At one point, Micah does just put a hand on your face and just stop for a second, all right? Let me fill out what I got here. He just takes the notebook and starts filling it in. The penmanship is bad. And the drawings are not great. You're able to get what you believe might be useful information, but... there is no way this bandit herbalist is going to have the patience to sit through and academically describe.
Michael, is this an E or an A? They look the same.
It's an S.
How was it? No, this is an S.
Oh, that's a cue.
Oh, dear God. Oh, guys, save me. Right. Okay. Yes. Thank you. You understand? I've been studying this for decades, and they've all been dead. This is the first breakthrough we've had in most of my life.
All right. Cool.
Do you realize, Micah, that you are the only person to ever successfully treat this disease, this infliction, this magical malady?
Well, just do what the plants tell me to, really.
Do the plants speak to you?
I mean, not literally. But, like, I know what they do. I know this one halts necrosis, use it for embalming and whatnot. So figure this at a lower dose, spread across something longer. Oh, I should get you some topicals too.
Yes, please. I'd like to see those as well, Micah. Thank you.
He just flips you off as he walks away. Just entirely over it.
Hey, guys. I think we're going to make Micah the new king.
No.
King Micah.
No.
King Micah, the herbalist who talks to plants.
Stop picking random, dirty, crusty folks.
King Micah of the Green Party.
While all that is happening, Arabin...
Kind of twofold. I wanted to go around town, or the camp, rather, and see what people have to trade that might be useful, like rope, hooks, etc. Also, casually striking up conversation of things they might have heard from Basil's stories about Scales Right.
Sure.
Gathering tools and information.
Give me an investigation and a perception check.
All right. Perception is an 11. So that's only a 4.
Okay. So your shopping efforts don't really go much of anywhere. There's not a lot to trade here. Instead of finding something to like barter or trade with, what you learn is that this encampment is really a slapdash effort, but it is from people who are dyed in the blood loyal to Basil. This was his ride or die crew before he went in, and he was in prison for several years. You're not exactly sure what happened in between him getting out and him reamassing this crew. But you get the impression that there are some people that have been living here. Some of them, like, while the encampment itself is fairly slapdash, some people clearly have been here for a while, waiting to either find a way to get him out or for him to get himself out. Specifically, you get the impression that Micah has been around for a good while. Maybe just working, doing something for the city, maybe being just a crazy old guy in the woods. You'd have to spend some time with Micah to find out. But that is what you learn, is that this is a group of loyalists. Now, as far as what's going on in Scales Right itself, there is, that there's not a lot of prisoners in there anymore. There's also not a lot of guard. Basil doesn't talk a lot about Scales Right. It is tough for him in that way that people who have things that are hard for them to talk about don't really talk about until that's all they talk about. So when you get him going on it, you get the info dump. And so you do find pockets of information, people mentioning it. You know that the artifact is being kept in a tower of sorts. It's a fairly plain room. There is a chair, pretty similar to the situation that you saw in, underneath the Nexus. There is a chair, there is a plinth, there's the dome. that was already mentioned, and there is a full, like, body-length mirror. And that is it that is in that room. It's a fairly small room, too.
No real talk of, like, what guards may be the biggest or most to worry about.
So here's the thing, is that you're trying to get that information and maybe even kind of screwing up the courage to just go and directly ask about it when you feel a tickle at the back of your mind and a burning on your chest. And you feel in your hand a piece of paper forming out of nothing.
This is really not the best time for this.
I don't recall asking you.
Well, if you're the one trying to get me to do something, you'd think you'd want me in a good mood. That's how negotiations work. Have you done business before?
Exactly as much business as you have. Now, you don't have to sign right now, but sooner would be better. You may want to excuse yourself and review the details.
When I get a moment, I'll look it over and review it.
Excellent.
And I'll make sure that this time it'll be my signature and not someone else's scribbled out.
You would be wise to do that.
Arabin's gonna, like, force himself back into the real world.
Yeah. You know you can summon this new contract at will.
Good to know.
Thank you for joining us here on Another Path. You can find our website and merch store at anotherpathpodcast.com and our network at ghostlightmedia.net. You can support our efforts by donating at patreon.com/ghostlightmedia or by giving us a rating and review over on Apple Podcasts or whatever podcatcher will let you. You can find us on Blue Sky at anotherpathpodcast.com, Ryan at ralbrecht.bluesky.social, Griffin at griffcold.bluesky.social, and myself at tqloudly.com. You can find Justin on TikTok at JustinMichael and myself at tqloudly. We'll be back in 2 weeks with a new episode, and until then, remember that the enemy of my enemy is probably my friend. This has been a Ghostlight Media production.